I got my assistant, Yeshua, here. Perfect for the introduction. If you're gonna meet me, then you should meet Mr. Yeshua. My sweet familiar who came to me at the most incredibly difficult point in my life. Gift from God. And I guess I'll just start with, when I say God, I mean the all that is, Great Spirit, the universe. I'll use God sort of as a simplification because it's a term that I grew up with, but no, I don't mean this like singular deity, this white man on a cloud, like absolutely not. Is that in the all-encompassing God? Yeah, sure, but so are you, so am I. The air that we breathe. So is, I'm sorry, you might not like that I say this, but the shits that we take, because I believe that everything is consciousness, everything is spirit, everything is God. There is no separation. So I sort of want to start this channel off by letting you know who I am. Are you being, excuse me, oh, hold on 1 second, he's being naughty. Get out of there. Gotta go. Stop. No, no, no. You cannot go in the plant fridge. Gotta go. Senor. Stop that. Okay? No. No, no, no. Okay? I love the duality of cats. They are so sweet and loving, but they can be like so mischievous, and like cats are such incredible friggin' spiritual teachers, man. They really teach us about like genuine unconditional love and not really giving a crap about the expectations of others. And like, I'm gonna make a whole video about cats and their like spiritual signature at some point. But anyway, back to the point of this video. Before I really dive into topics, I'd like to tell you who I am, where I'm coming from, and I'd also like to let you guys know that I'm getting ready to soon probably start taking clients, and when that happens, I will, announce it. So if you resonate with my energy, if you're interested in potentially working with me, if you resonate with the things that I talk about, I will be sure to be listing my email so you can reach out to look into setting up a session. And anybody looking to work with me, I initially will be doing a complimentary consultation. We can talk for a little while and you can really, get an idea. You can see me here on a video, be like, okay, I like her energy. I think I want to work with this being. But then we might start talking and you might feel like you're not about it. So yeah, there will be complimentary initiatory session first provided. So basically this channel is going to be about spirituality in a very multidimensional way. We are multidimensional beings. I will be touching on topics from various different faiths, various different esoteric teachings, various different cultures. A little bit about me. Well, let me back up. This channel isn't just going to be one of those, I sit here and I share wisdom and I share spiritual teachings. It's going to instead have a very raw, real, and hopefully relatable kind of energy to it. I'm going to share my vulnerabilities. I'm going to share my stories. I'm going to share the hell that I've been to again and again and again. So you sort of get an idea of like the reality of all this stuff, It's great to watch videos and see, okay, these spiritual teachings. This person says that you can become abundant. This person says that you can heal. This person says that you can love yourself. And those are all super helpful. But I know, at least for myself in the past, I felt so broken and beyond help. I felt so severely traumatized and completely a victim to that I was like, well, it's easy for you to say, what have you been through? Like when I've had several bouts of recovery treatment because one of the parts of my story is addiction, multiple different addictions actually. And again, I'll be talking about all of these things more deeply in videos, but I remember not only myself, but other people in the group in this one IOPOs, and I was like, okay, counselor, but what do you know about addiction? Have you ever experienced it? So it's sort of one thing to just listen to somebody talk to you about these things, and it's another when you know that that person knows where you are, where you've been, where you're coming from, and how the hell you feel inside. You know what I mean? So I've really, really struggled my entire life with this like fear of being seen, which is funny because I'm a Leo rising, and that Leo rising aspect of myself, just so my cat is being naughty over there. I'm just gonna surrender. I'm gonna surrender, and I'm gonna trust, and I'm gonna let it rock. I'm not gonna let him distract me again. I love that cat. Anyway, surrender's a big thing too. I'm gonna talk all about all these things, but I don't want to get too sidetracked. So yeah, I think it's like a different thing when you're like, wow, okay, you've been to hell and back again and again and again, and now you have this joy, this peace, this self-love, and this feeling of like abundance and healing and higher perspective. And like, I think it's important for people to hear that. So yeah, I've had this fear of being seen, even though Leo rising me really definitely wants to be seen. I have my reasons for not wanting to be seen, and that's a couple of different things. Not only do I know that I struggle with the witch wound, which is from connections to past or parallel lives, however you want to look at it. We'll talk more about that too. Of persecution for sharing my truth, especially spiritual esoteric wisdom, of generational ancestral trauma of oppression, of, you know, the lineage of women being oppressed, lineage of the color of you know, my ancestors' skin. I mean, there's a million reasons just wrapped up in there. And then within my own life personally, when I was younger, there were a couple instances where I would do well at something, you know, or I would excel in a thing. Like I did gymnastics, and I was naturally inclined in that area. And so I was with girls who were older than I was, and they were around that age of like preteen, maybe like 11 or so. I might have been like 9. I don't, because of my trauma, a lot of my past is blotchy, timelines and I have a lot had been blocked out, and it's coming back more and more as I heal. And if it doesn't all come back, that's okay. I trust that I have what I need, you know what I mean? But so as far as like the specific age, I don't exactly know, but I know that the girls were about 2 years older than I was, and they were really mean to me, and me then just felt rejected, just felt like there was something wrong with me. Like, why do they hate me? You know what I mean? And me now with a higher perspective understands that when people feel insecure, when people feel threatened, they'll try to knock your ass down, you know? They will try to bring themselves up by knocking you down. So I genuinely, in retrospect, believe that they were just threatened because I was younger than them and I was good enough to be in the class with them. So they were like, I'm gonna screw this girl. And then on the flip side of that, shining my light, being seen, has gotten me sexually assaulted more than once. Actually all throughout my childhood, then by a sibling, then by friends, and by a romantic partner. I mean, the list goes on and on. People have tried to capture, siphon, and dim my light. So I was shown again and again that being seen was not safe. Being seen was not safe. And so much of my upbringing was very unsafe feeling. I grew up in a very chaotic household with a severe alcoholic, crackhead, drug addict father, a mother who enabled him and sort of prioritized taking care of him and making that relationship work over me and protecting me. And now all of my immediate needs were dealt with, you know. I never went without food. I never went without a bed. Nothing like that. But my emotional needs were very much not a thing. And in fact, I actually took it upon myself, not only as like a 4 or 5 year old, to try to mediate the arguments between my parents, spit flying over my head, like really crazy. I have memories of standing in between them, somehow with the the consciousness to say, well, hey, pause. How are you feeling? And how are you feeling? How can we come together, you know? So dealing with that, Dad would be in and out of the house. The police would be coming. I'd be trying to hide the phone because I didn't want them to take Daddy away. And then just like parenting my parents, you know, I would take care of him sometimes when he was sick and withdrawing on the couch. I would take care of my mom by seeing that she was really stressed and I didn't want to add anything to her plate. So I was a happy-go-lucky kid, man. I had no issues. I wasn't being molested on the reg by my babysitter's husband. No. I wasn't being troubled by everything that was going on in the house. I was good. I had to be good because I didn't want to make it harder for her, you know? So, as I mentioned, being molested for years on the reg by my babysitter's husband, dealing with this chaos at home, and then on my mom's side of the family, so much love was there, and my grandparents were so incredible in a number of ways, and we'd go there every Sunday for family dinners, and I'm so grateful for all that time. But that experience taught me a lot of really twisted things about love too. My one aunt was very prone to narcissistic type, angry, emotional outbursts, and she had always been that way. And a lot of the Latino culture is very keep the family together at all costs, okay? Do what we have to do to just be happy, keep the peace, especially my family. I'm not gonna sit here and generalize that every family is like that. But I do know that you know, that family, the unit, that being important above all else is very much ingrained in that culture. And so my aunt would go in these outbursts, these rage, you know what I mean? Everybody was scared. She's powerful. That woman is like got really intense, powerful energy. And everybody would be in fear. Everybody's subdued. Everybody's quiet, having to listen to what she has to say. There was even a point where she shoved my mom when she tried to walk away, you know what I mean? And this was a regular occurrence. So she'd have her fit, and then she'd storm out of the room, and you know, while she's gone, everybody agrees that this is unwell. We don't understand this, but we're going to do whatever we have to do to make her happy. We're going to do whatever we have to do to keep the peace. When she comes back, yes, just kiss her ass. And then told that I have to deal with it because she loves us. So that's love. And that went on to me having a slew of highly dysfunctional and abusive relationships with narcissistic type partners who would treat me like crap. They would go on these fits. They would be totally dysregulated in their emotions, make that my problem. And I said, well, I know they love me. So I should forgive them. I should put up with this, you know? So yeah, a lot of abuse in the romantic department. And like I mentioned earlier, I've had a slew of drug addictions, okay? I was a crackhead, and then I was an alcoholic, and then I was sober for years, and then I fell down the ketamine rabbit hole. And, you know, throughout all of this, I was addicted to marijuana as well. And now I sit here before you sober. I've been diagnosed with mental illnesses. Maybe she's bipolar. Maybe she's got borderline personality disorder. None of that was true, okay? I was traumatized. And I've done so much to heal. I do not need psych medication. I am whole and happy and just so stable in my life now. Through healing with spirit, through doing the shadow work, through alchemizing all of these things to turn my pain into my power. And that's a lot of what I want to talk about. It's a lot of what I hope to help people with. It's like my life felt like it was the training grounds, you know what I mean? The training grounds of hell and back and learning how to create heaven within. And now I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm perfect. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I don't have emotions. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm just like, all the time. No, I'm a human being. And I think a lot of people have the misconception that you suddenly reach this point where you're not human anymore. And I don't know, maybe you do. actually I had a Kundalini awakening in 2023, and at the point when the energy hit my crown, I definitely was in like a state of Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, whatever you want to call it, that like avatar level where I wasn't disruptible at all. It was the most beautiful and incredible thing, and I don't know if that's going to happen again. I would love if it did. I've actually had to surrender. I've had to realize that I was chasing that dragon ever since, hoping that that would happen again, and I let go. I surrender. I'm going with the flow, and that's such a huge thing. We're so desperate to try to control everything, and like the more we try to control things, it seems the more out of control our lives are. So I'm gonna talk all about that stuff. But yeah, I have dealt with self-harm. I've dealt with eating disorders. I am neurodivergent. I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was about 8 years old. I suspect there's a little bit more going on there. At the end of the day, these are just labels. And I think that it has a lot to do with a misunderstanding of like starseed energy. That'll be another video too. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I share it to so that people can understand where I'm coming from and can relate to me and can know actually that, you know, the ADHD thing, that has been an immense part of my struggles in the past, but those are not limitations that hold me anymore. I'm not medicated, and again, through spiritual healing, through expanding my consciousness, through doing the shadow work, like I can focus, I don't forget things. I've learned to sort of overcome this decision paralysis and goodness, what's the word? I can't remember, but just the common ADHD thing where you struggle to do basic things like brush your teeth or check the mail, or someone in the comments, please remind me of what that's called. And I'm having a major brain fart. But yeah, I spent the majority of my life suicidal. I spent the majority of my life feeling worthless. I spent the majority of my life having absolutely zero boundaries, putting other people first, always seeing the best in people, giving chance after chance after chance. I spent the majority of my life ignoring my intuition. It's not that I didn't see things were off. It's not that I didn't feel that they were off. It's just that I would gaslight myself, basically, like, no, that's crazy. How could you think that about this person? You know what I mean? Even then, too, when they'd show me again and again. So I've been through the ringer. I have dealt with immense guilt and shame. I have dealt with immense imposter syndrome. And I sit here before you today feeling free. And again, my life is not perfect. I am dealing with serious like physical health ailments, which have been the most transformative, beautiful teachings that I've received from this, and I'm going to make a whole video on that. You know, I have become a person who really can genuinely see that it's up to us whether we take an experience and we make it negative or positive. Everything is neutral, and everything can be turned into gold. Everything can be turned into gold. So it's my hope to help people learn how to do that. It is my hope to help people come home to themselves, to find their authenticity, to scream that without fear from the rooftops, to love themselves unconditionally. And like the importance of authenticity, it's funny, everybody is like seeking, like, I want to be in a state of unconditional love. That is a great goal. You will never get there without being authentic, because until you can love your authentic self, warts and all, there's no unconditional love. You're rejecting parts of yourself. As long as you're rejecting your shadow, then that's not unconditional love. And if you can't unconditionally love yourself, you cannot unconditionally love others. So a little bit more about me, and in ways that I would, you know, potentially work with people and things I'm going to talk about. I was called to the shamanic path. Before I even knew what that was, I was, you know, very into psychedelics and just watching something on ayahuasca, and they're talking about the shamans, which I really knew nothing about shamanism. I knew that I was spiritually gifted in a sense. I knew I was sensitive, but I had this like intense feeling inside. I like felt very, very caveman-esque, and I was like, oh, me? Shaman? And I'm like, what is going on? Like, I knew so little about shamans, I actually had to ask a friend of mine, can women be shamans? And he laughed at me and proceeded to tell me that actually a lot of people believe that women were the first shamans. So there you go with that. And I proceeded to go into my therapist's office, and you know, I talked to him about metaphysical stuff and this and that, and he was a skeptic who wanted to believe. And I've never seen a human being react like this, man. Like, I tell him this and he white as a ghost. I'm like, you okay, Doc? He goes, I was home bringing books for my home library to share with patients, and one was just nagging at me, and I didn't want to bring it because it didn't make sense, but the pull was so strong. And he gets up and he hands me the book, The Way of the Shaman, and that's when our session ends. And I said, I told you, Doc, the universe is a very mysterious place. And years went on, and I had no exposure to other people on the shamanic path. I didn't really seek it out. I don't know, just years went on, and it sort of fell into the back of my mind, you know. I didn't think about it too much. I was still on this spiritual path, but very non-specific, you know, little of this, little of that. And I'm still like that. I'm very eclectic, you know. And then I actually had a session with another shamanic practitioner, and she comes out and she's like, Jillian, I was wondering why they were showing me feathers. You're a shaman, did you know that? I'm like, yeah, sort of. I sort of did. She's like, consider this your first initiation. And I start having this like crazy psychedelic experience trying to drive home through Shenandoah Valley. I'm like seeing holographic. I definitely should have been like warned a little bit more about what she was doing and what was going to happen, I think. But again, I also think everything happened as it's meant to be. It's I'm also going to talk a lot about how nothing is one or the other. It can be both, you know, holding space for both. Like, yes, I think that maybe she should have handled that whole situation well, but no, I wouldn't trade it because it all happened as it was meant to be, you know? So, big thing about like awakening and expanding my perspective and, you know, enlightenment or whatever you want to call it has been about expanding myself enough to be able to hold space for contradicting ideas at the same time, and they both be true. And I'm going to talk a lot about that too, because I think people get caught up on thinking like, oh, well, I should just be grateful, so I'm not going to like feel the heavier side of this. It's like, no, it can be both. It can absolutely be both. We are multidimensional beings. Let's stop putting ourselves in these tiny little neat little friggin' boxes, all right? So yeah, I'm going to talk about things like alchemy, recovery, manifestation, abundance, you know, creating heaven on earth. The kingdom of heaven is within, man. It's not some place we're going to like go fly up to and be in like worship and subservient of some jealous God until we die. At least I hope not. That doesn't sound very heavenly to me. No, I believe heaven is a consciousness. It's a level of consciousness, and it's a state of mind. So, yeah, like I said, I'm not perfect, but I am so grateful. I'm happy. I still have heavier emotions, and I'm grateful for those. I've learned to be grateful when difficult things happen. But again, not in this like fake way, in this like I've genuinely come to understand and appreciate how all of these energies serve a purpose. All of these things are here to help us like grow and expand and learn as a soul, which is what I believe ultimately we're here to do. You know, we're here to grow, learn, expand, and be of service to others. So let me see, I have my little list here. I just want to make sure I didn't forget anything. Oh yeah, I dealt with PTSD or CPTSD, you know, from my childhood. I've dealt with dissociating, all sorts of these things. My neighbor when I was little used to beat the crap out of me. So like I really grew up with like zero safety and just like complete nervous system dysregulation. I'm dealing with this illness. Like I said, I've tasted a lot of the different flavors of life, and I look back in my life and I wouldn't change a goddamn thing. I wouldn't change a thing. And it is my hope to help encourage people to get to a state where they can find that joy, love, and appreciation for life in the full spectrum of color, as I have, you know, because it's incredibly freeing. And you know, whether you just stick around my channel and you know, watch, I thank you and I hope you get something from it. It's just my hope to inspire you. We are all our own guru, you know, so please don't just like take everything I say at face value blindly, you know. Please don't do that with anyone. Discernment is really important. And again, we are all very unique, and nothing is a one size fits all. As much as society wants us to believe shit works like that, it does not. So always look within. I mean, anything that you hear that you're interested in, I say always keep an open mind, you know, listen to everything. A big thing for me in my expansion too was, do I want to be right or do I want to learn? So like even something that I would think maybe I just don't agree with, take it into consideration and meditate on it, but don't ever blindly follow or listen to anything anybody tells you, man. We are all a reflection of God within. Tap into that. So that's what I want to inspire people to do. And if you end up working with me as a client, same deal. I'm not going to be somebody who wants you dependent upon me for your entire life. I'm not going to sit here and be your guru and give you all the answers. Like, I'm going to hold your hand through the process. Sure, I'll share the wisdom that I've obtained. And yeah, sure, I can, you know, in a shamanic sense, maybe help clear some blockages or do things like soul retrieval, power retrieval, all these things. I'll give you tools, man. But my main thing is to walk alongside you and love you unconditionally until you get to that place where you remember who you are and you love yourself. And then you don't need me anymore. You can fly free. I want everybody to get to that place. I'm also a Reiki master. I have had several instances of like mediumship happen. There are still things that I'm working on. There are still things that I'm developing, and I'm learning a lot again about surrender and trusting. And the more that I surrender and the more that I trust, the more I realize these things were just always inside me and I was the roadblock to them. So I'll talk about all that. And yeah, here's to being seen, hopefully to help you beautiful people overcome your fears as well. Throughout these videos, will share more in depth of my stories along with my teachings. I will share my vulnerabilities, and yeah, I really hope that if I can inspire at least one person to want to heal and to want to grow and to want to be their authentic self, then I feel like I've accomplished something, because we are a collective and everything has a ripple. It's like a web, you know? So if I can even inspire just one being, then they're gonna go on and inspire some other beings, and those people will go on and inspire some other beings. So yeah, I don't know who's watching this, but I love you. I do. And yeah, I hope you stick around and enjoy this channel. I'm not entirely sure where it's gonna go. I'm just going with the flow.